You will have heard that there's been significant changes in educational policy, which will have a considerable impact on our own educational system here in Gibraltar. And one of the most significant changes is that exams have been cancelled. This means that, in effect, it does ease the pressure on the educational system here in Gibraltar, and we can focus it on a different type of system, basically, which is what will be required over the coming weeks or even months.
I mean, the decision, one that seems to keep everyone happy. Schools will continue. They won't continue with the traditional school service, become more of a care service for children and people who are at need. What are some of the concerns that your members took to you?
Well, obviously, for us, there's been two concerns, or two concerns which we've focused on. One has been, obviously, the health and safety of our most vulnerable members, and if they're living or cohabiting with vulnerable members of their family. And the other one being serving the community, because at the end of the day, we feel that we have a role to play, and it's essential, obviously, that people who are on the front line in essential services and people who will need to continue to work will have to have their children looked after. However, as you quite rightly said, it will be a very radical and different type of approach. We can basically chuck out the window what we think of the way education has been in the past, and this will be a case of looking at numbers of who will actually need childcare, how can we best manage the resources that we have, maybe cutting down the number of schools and focusing on just a few that can make facilities available for what will be, in our opinion, a limited number of students who will end up going to school. Because as far as we're concerned, if you can look after your kids at home, and you're able to because maybe you don't need to work or you're able to work from home or whatever, that is a good thing, because it will alleviate the pressure on the system to be able to look after the children who we feel will need to be looked after. That is to say, those of people who need to work because they're providing an essential service, or perhaps children who are vulnerable and need to be looked after as well in school.
Now, you mentioned there 35% attendance today. You will probably be providing a different sort of service for a reduced number of children. So what happens with your members? Not all of them will be working or providing that service. What happens with your members?
Well, our members, those that are fit and are able to work, will work. But at the end of the day, people have to make their own decisions, to seek medical advice if they're concerned, and we have to respect that decision as well. But we believe that there will be a significant number of teachers who are willing to volunteer and take part in this new restructuring of childcare, if you'd like to call it that. And there will be many volunteers for sure. But things will change, there's no doubt about it, and we will continue to have meetings because it's an ongoing process and we haven't finalised a lot of the detail yet. But the mere fact that numbers have been dwindling and that we expect them to dwindle more tomorrow, it allows us time to organise ourselves, to work with the Department of Education, to work with not just our teachers, but all the staff who we're extremely grateful for, the people who are actually still working in schools, secretaries, cleaners, teachers, LSAs, many of them volunteering for many things and putting themselves out there. I really want to say a big thank you to all of them because we appreciate that. But yes, education will radically change. Who knows until when?
Exactly, as we don't know how long this will run for. As COVID-19 sweeps across the world, we've seen many nations responding as best they can. Gibraltar is tailor-making solutions, but we have seen many nations also offer education online. How difficult or how much of a challenge is this something Gibraltar could offer in the foreseeable future?
Well, it's not difficult at all because we've been preparing for some of that, so it's not a problem. Having said that, there won't be any exam classes. That pressure is off. but we will be looking at ways, perhaps. I don't know if this will radically change now the fact that we're going to be providing some kind of service. What we cannot do is be in a school and provide, online service for younger kids. So basically, what's going to happen here is basically parents who need to work and cannot look after their children at home, they will have a facility where children can go to and will be entertained in the most creative way possible under the circumstances, and they will be doing things that are valuable, but not necessarily in the old way of jumping hurdles and passing exams and being taught the national curriculum. That's not going to happen.